Hello, this is Andy Reistetter on a journey to Olympic golf, and I'm still here in Ponte Vedra Beach at TPC Sawgrass at the clubhouse. And lo and behold, my friend Susan Brandenburg.
Very good.
Very good. Susan Brandenburg, famous author here in Ponte Vedra, brought another lovely woman into my life by the name of Bess Turk. Hi, Bess.
Hi, and Susan brought me in because I needed her to help me write my memoirs. That's how we became acquainted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, is that book out yet?
Yes.
What is the title of that?
It's
we'll give
called
you a little plug
Over the
here.
Rainbow.
Over the Rainbow. And
something like that.
all I needed was about 2 minutes into the conversation of meeting Bess, and I heard she's lived in 19 countries in 21 years, and that's lived, not just passed through or visited. She lived in 19
Got
countries.
a home and everything.
And she's a golfer, and she went to northern Scotland
Right.
and was on this spiritual journey in golf. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
I joined a group, a dear friend in Washington, D.C. wanted to take a group to Findhorn, Findhorn, in northern Scotland. And it's a spiritual town. And they moved there because they wanted to connect with God. And what they did was they moved near a whiskey factory. And all their homes are made with the whiskey barrels. So everybody lives in a round house.
Really? Okay.
Some of them 2-story and some only 1-story.
Okay.
And they're very centered and they all help each other, and it's really working a very good community. Well, this friend of mine got 15 people together from Europe and from America to go over and play Fairway to Heaven. And we played 7 golf courses on the link courses of Scotland. And we lived, I won't remember all those important names because it's over 20 years ago, but we started in a huge mansion near Findhorn. All of us lived there. And in that mansion, the guests all had to sit around and meditate when we arrived and decide what jobs we were going to do while we lived there, because it wasn't no servants. So we had to meditate and then decide, well, I don't want to wash dishes, or I don't want to do the toilets, because I wanted to do the garden. So did everybody else. So you simply keep taking jobs until they're all chosen. And then that's what you do while you're a guest. You do your job. You cook, you clean the food, you go to the garden, you do the garden, everything.
It's kind of like
is
a
done.
commune almost.
It's a commune.
Okay.
But then you play golf. We did that for a
Play
week.
golf.
And then we go off to these golf courses. So she'd get the bus, off we'd go. And she brought a monk over from Tibet.
Yes.
And he wore his robe and his sandals. He kept it in front. And he'd walk with us, and he was a good golfer. And then in the evening, we would sit around and we would discuss the golf game as it pertained to our life. What happened on the course that could help you in
So give me an example of that. What was some of that conversation about, or how do you relate golf to you?
I'm on the green, for instance. I played a lot with the monk. I really enjoyed him and he enjoyed me.
On the course?
On the course.
Okay.
So we walked together a lot. We walked.
Yes, you have to walk.
In
That's the
Scotland,
only way
you
to
walk.
golf.
Yes. And so I hit the ball, and it came over so that if I wanted to take an extra shot, I could finish the end there and then come back to the green. Or I could go over some very tall greens and land on the green and save a shot. So I had to decide what my skills were, whether that was appropriate. So I took the chance that it would be more fun to miss and try to do it than to do the safe way.
Wow.
So then we discussed that in the evening, that would be my choice.
So you have choices in life.
Yes.
And you should know what your skills are, what you're capable
And you
of.
have to, and you can be aware of the chance you're taking. That's what he taught me.
Aware of the chance you're taking.
If I'm going to have an extra stroke, how will I feel about having that extra point later? Is it going to be worth it? Well, to me it was absolutely worth it. One more stroke compared to the excitement of doing it and maybe not making it was worth it. And that's how I live. It turns out that is how I live.
So meditating with a monk, Fairway to Heaven in northern Scotland. What year was this?
Ooh, that would take me a minute. Because it sort of sort of.
Well, you live in 19
I've been
countries.
here.
It's all sort of.
Well, that's why I wrote my book. I was so confused about where I lived. So 13 years ago,
I did that too.
Here. Ah, that's
I
interesting.
wrote a book to organize my life.
Sort your
Yeah.
life out. About 30 years.
About 30 years ago in Scotland. Okay.
Yeah, about 30 years ago. Because we did that, I was about 55 or so. Yeah, and I'm 85 now.
You're 85?
Yeah. So see, that's what
I
happens.
think we should all be meditating in
That's what happens
golf.
when you take those
Oh my
chances.
goodness! Wow.
So it was a
Wow.
lot of fun. Well, that's one example. That would be enough, though, to
That's
show you
good.
what it's
Yes. So Bess, tell me, what kind of golfer are you?
Oh, very mediocre.
Mediocre.
The best I ever played was 90.
90.
It's not that great.
That's
But I
pretty-
didn't
that's-
learn until I was
That's
70.
better than average. You didn't learn until you were 70.
No, that's not right. I married at 50, I mean 60.
60.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that must have been when 64 was when I went to Scotland.
There's an endless amount of questions I want to ask you, but let's focus on the golf. So you know the game of golf. You obviously have a lot of world experience. You're into meditation. You've been to Scotland.
I played golf as a life. Get
As a
out on
life.
the course every time I
Like-
played it. When I'd hit the first ball, I would say that is what today's going to be.
Accept that. Accept that
And then
shot.
that happens to that and where it goes and how I treat it, whether I get upset or calm, that's all how I'm living. It's always how I'm living.
How she's living. Okay.
And the score really didn't mean a thing. But I had to keep it in order to get the handicap. So the technical part for the club, I had to keep, and I was the president for the women's golf, so I had to keep the score. But it really wasn't.
Okay, Bess, how would you define the Olympic spirit for golfers? Golfers have not played in the Olympics for 112 years. So to the best of your ability, how would you define the proper Olympic spirit for golfers for Rio de Janeiro in 2016?
Golf teaches you how to live.
Golf teaches you how to live.
If you have that object in mind as you play it, that's what you get out of it. So you need to have a mindset. Don't just go in there and hit a ball and try to beat somebody. Golf is a very singular game, very individual. But you have to support your community of golf, the people who play with you, as you do in life, don't you? You have your individual life, but you've got to coordinate your life with your community, and only can do certain things that make your community better. If you don't, make it worse. It hurts your game, and it hurts your life. So golf is, that's the wonderful part about golf. It is your life.
Well, that's beautiful, Bess, and I think you just made a connection. I think you wrote something in the late 60s that may have inspired my brother, who inscribed Ben Hogan's book, 5 Lessons, to me with the phrase, golf is a lot like life. The more you learn and understand about it, the easier it is to meet its
Absolutely.
challenge.
Keep that theme going.
Well, thank
Because
you.
that's what needs to be in our Olympics too, for all the sports.
You are so delightful. Are you in a relationship right now?
Yeah, I have a boyfriend.
Okay. I was going to say, guys out there,
He's 80.
you're 84.
My boyfriend's 80.
She's not really 84 or 80,
Yes, I am.
85. No, you're not.
I was born in 1929.
You're very young in mind. Everybody should meditate and golf.
Yes.
Again, thank you so much,
Yes,
Beth.
golf.
Enjoyed the interview.
Meditate when you start, meditate when you leave. It was such fun.